Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
Let's be honest. Being a leader today can feel like being on a treadmill that just won't slow down. The demands keep piling up. The world keeps getting louder. And before we realize it, our purpose gets buried under performance. If you're here today, it's because you're not average. See, you're the kind of leader who doesn't just want to check the boxes. You want to make a meaningful impact. And if you've ever ended a day completely exhausted, yet felt like you didn't actually move the needle, well, let me tell you, this might sound familiar to you. The back-to-back Zoom calls, the emails you cleared at night, saying yes to the things that at one point felt urgent, but didn't really matter at the end. That's not failure. No, that's called drift. So take a breath. You're in the right place. See, for a while, I was that type of leader. I'd start the day with a full to-do list. I was leading people. I was solving problems, grinding through meetings. Then I'd end the night, wiped out. Yet nothing truly important moved forward. And I thought I had a time management problem, but it turns out I had a me management problem. I spent 21 years in the military. I did 6 deployments, some in austere and hostile environments such as Iraq, Afghanistan. I was leading service members from different branches, various teams, and different missions across the world. The military taught me one thing. It taught me discipline, and it also gave me structure. But here's the thing. Here's what no one teaches you. And that's what to do when all that structure suddenly disappears. Nobody teaches you how to lead yourself. And that's where intentionality begins. That's where my journey in intentionality began. See, here's the real problem. Most leaders, we don't lack ambition. What we lack is focus. We mistake motion for meaning. We confuse urgency with importance. We fill our calendars and end up emptying ourselves to the point of overwhelm and eventual burnout. And when leaders are distracted, their teams don't just notice, they mirror it. See, a recent Deloitte study found that 77% of leaders feel overwhelmed by competing priorities. 77%. 31% say their daily actions align with their long-term goals. Only 31%? That's what I call the clarity gap. And that gap, it's costing organizations productivity, trust, and purpose. Here's another data point. Burnout is twice as likely when leaders can't connect daily work to their long-term vision. So again, let me be clear. We don't have a time problem. We have a clarity problem. Again, we don't have a time problem. We have a clarity problem. When leaders lack clarity, teams hesitate. You have decisions that stall, and the energy drains. You stop leading with direction and start leading and reacting to the noise. And what happens next? Your best people disengage. Innovation slows. You become the bottleneck. At work, you're busy. At home, you're distant. And the scariest part, you don't notice drift while it's happening. See, drift, it feels normal until it becomes expensive. And that's why I teach intentionality. I don't help leaders do more. I help leaders do what matters most. See, we don't need to add more on our plate. We need to focus and be intentional on doing what matters most. Because intentionality, that's the that's the antidote to overwhelm. My biggest leadership breakthrough was simple. See, I wasn't out of time. I was out of clarity. And when I fixed my clarity, my capacity expanded. And that's what intentionality, that's what it does. I created something called the I.M.P.A.C.T brief. It's a leadership clarity system I modeled after how we planned and completed every mission in the military. Now it has 7 pillars, but today I want to focus on just 2. The first one is insight, seeing what truly matters. The second pillar, alignment, making your actions match your mission. If you master these 2, your focus, it becomes unstoppable. The first pillar is insight. Clarity creates capacity. Years ago, during one of my deployments, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Everything shut down. Our training stopped. Movement slowed. And the structure that was there, it suddenly disappeared. And somewhere in that stillness, I got too comfortable. I trusted my leading petty officer, my second in command, to oversee the personnel, my sailors, while I focus on the administrative task. And I told myself, I'm empowering him. But in reality, I was abdicating. The sailors, they started pulling me aside. Chief, this isn't right. Chief, this is what he says when you're not around. Chief, you told us one thing, but he's doing another. At first, I just brushed it off. But deep down, I knew. I knew I had lost sight of the terrain. One day I walked into the workspace unannounced, and what I saw told me everything. Morale was low, trust was cracked, and direction was missing. That's when it hit me. I wasn't leading with insight. I was leading on assumptions. I wasn't leading with insight. I ended up leading with assumptions. And if you don't see clearly, you can't lead clearly. The message here is insight sharpens your vision so that your decisions become intentional, not just emotional. In this insight pillar, I use a tool that I teach leaders called the Clarity Cascade, and it has three components. First, you have your vision. What outcome truly matters? The second is your values. What principles must guide this? And the third, what pace is sustainable? That's velocity. Vision, values, and velocity. So let's make this real. Before a meeting, before a project, before saying yes, run it through this clarity cascade. It doesn't serve the vision, then it's just noise. If it violates values, it's misalignment. If it breaks velocity, well, that's just burnout waiting to happen. Every distraction fails this test, and every aligned mission passes it. So before you say yes, ask yourself, is this moving me toward my mission or just making me feel like I'm being productive? Here's a quick check to the leaders in the room. Does your calendar currently have one thing that doesn't belong there? Yeah, we all do, right? Ident identify that, identify that one task. That's where your clarity starts. So we just talked about insight, the first pillar. Now let's go over the second pillar, alignment, where your actions must match your mission. Going back to the deployment story I shared with you, once I listened to my sailors and my personnel and truly saw what was happening, I immediately shifted. I became intentional in spending more time with them. We had real conversations about what was needed. And eventually we got back into the trenches. As a result, trust slowly returned, morale stabilized, clarity started to flow back in. Why? Because my actions finally matched my mission. The key message here is alignment turns clarity into momentum. See, in the I.M.P.A.C.T brief, alignment is that bridge. It's the bridge between what you see, what you do, and how you consistently show up. Alignment isn't intensity. It isn't perfection. Alignment is consistency. Teams don't trust what you say occasionally. They trust what you do repeatedly. I want to say that again. Teams don't trust what you say occasionally. They trust what you do repeatedly. So leaders, ask yourself daily, are my actions matching my mission? Or are they just reinforcing my old habits? There's one area moving forward where you know alignment matters. Don't dismiss it. Recognize it. Name it. Because what you name, you can change. To recap, we covered two pillars of the I.M.P.A.C.T brief. The first one was insight. For clarity creates that capacity. And the second one was alignment, where clarity becomes that momentum moving forward. Focus isn't a time issue. It's a clarity issue. So before I close out today, I want to share with you all one of the many lessons I learned in the military, and especially what the Navy taught me. Ships don't drift to their destination. They're steered there intentionally. In the fog, in the storms, through constant course correction, every degree matters. The same is true for your leadership. You are the captain. You choose the direction. You choose the mission. You choose what earns your focus. No one promoted you into that leadership position so you could live in reaction. You were chosen to set the direction. So if you want to strengthen your impact and sharpen your focus, don't live in reaction. Do set the direction. And most importantly, lead with intentionality. Because your vision deserves nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.